Ross, District Ranger here at McKenzie River, going on about 7 years here, and so I'm recognizing a lot of familiar faces here, and thanks for coming and joining us for this briefing tonight. So here to talk about the origin of the fire, which is right now it's undetermined. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that right now. So on let's see here, day of discovery, July 16th, we got a call at about 8:30 in the morning or so that there was a smoke report in and around what was our Blue 190 unit. And if you guys afterwards, there's a map over there and I can point some stuff out and show you what's going on over there. So we got that call. We sent out resources. We happen to have some pre-positioned resources here from Virginia. We had an engine and a couple of squads, about 14 firefighters. Sent them out there immediately. They got there, and there was already a lot of fire on the ground. A lot more fire on the ground than should have been there at 8:30 in the morning. So we said, okay, we start, watch that. We sent some additional resources out there, including a Type 4 IC. Got there at about 11 o'clock or so. They took direct action on that fire. Started laying, well, there was already hose on the ground, or hose, well, we didn't have hose, there was no hose there. So started laying hose and started a defensive fire to try and get rid of any of that fuel between where they were and the 502 road. I can point that out over there. At about 1 o'clock that day, we briefed a Type 3 IC because we had brought more resources in, and of course that span of control, we got to keep going. They fought fire as hard as they could until about 6 o'clock, and that's when the fire crossed the 502 road, went north, and then got out of control at that night. So at 7 o'clock that night, we ordered our fire investigator, because of how I described that, it was suspicious to have that much fire on the ground, and I'll tell you a little bit about that right now. So we have had issues up there. It's on the road, good road access, and we'd had continual theft and a lot of activity up there, stealing our equipment that we had. So this all started, I'll tell you about our prescribed fire that was there. So on June 10th, so I know you may have seen other information on the Blue River Bulletin or other places, but this fire was completed June 10th. It was 39 acres. Between June 10th and early July, we got about an inch of rain on that fire, and it was cool weather. Everything was fine. Around July 5th, when we started getting those 100-degree days, we can explain later too, the energy release component. It's something that we use to measure the water, moisture, and fuel. Started to go up to where it has been now, where it's in the 99th percentile. So basically, we had all that hot weather, the heat dome, you guys all lived through it, very hot. When that happened, you started to see smokes come up in the unit, right, as the stuff dried out. So right around that time, as that dry weather happened, we sent out at least an engine to that unit every day to work on putting out those smokes that were popping up. We continually did that, at least an engine for the next 7 days. We had a 3-day period of July 12th, 13th, and 14th, where we had 3 engines, a 20-person hand crew, a water tender, working that entire unit over and over, and put somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 and 100,000 gallons of water on that unit to put all of those smokes out. Our acting fire management officer, along with the crews on the 14th, after those 3 days of solid mopping up, gridded the entire unit multiple times. It was cold, no smokes, everything was out. They felt comfortable enough at that time to pull the hose and say this unit is now out and it'll be fine. 3 days later, we go back to the start where we had suspicious smoke, suspicious heat early in the morning after having put the fire out. So that's the timeline and how events happened. So it's currently under investigation because we don't know what happened out there. So we'll figure that out and we'll be telling you as soon as we find out. The investigation, expect that to be a few months before we hear back from that, and then we'll share the results of that with everybody at that time. So that's the facts, right? That's the facts. People that know me, that's the story. At that point, before we go on to passing this off to kind of now, which is focusing on suppressing this fire, I want to also talk to you a little about, we had the opportunity this winter where we had 4 public engagements sponsored by Locals Helping Locals and the Long-Term Recovery Group. We had meetings that were up here at the community center, we had them at Leeburg. We only made it through 3 of 4 of those because nobody showed up. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. 2 to 3 people showed up for each one of those meetings. We had people from ODF, from the state, from OSFM, from just every partner that we have to talk to everybody about this kind of event. We were going to talk about first was initial attack, talk about all the things we do with initial attack, how it works and what we do. The second one was about prescribed fire, an opportunity to talk about the prescribed fire program that we were going to be doing this year, and we completed 4 units. This was one of them. And then also to talk about evacuations and then long-term fighting a fire, which is what we're going to talk about right now. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you to think about reaching out to those groups that were kind enough to organize that for us. And I was at all those meetings, and encourage you to reach out to them and say, I think that's a good idea for the community, and I think we should do that again, and I'm going to show up. Because I think it's important for y'all to understand that. And understand fire better, right? We're living with fire. This is doesn't matter how it started, I guess, but we're living with it. So I just want to encourage you to do that. And then, lastly, there's been a lot of vitriol on the Blue River Bulletin, and I'm happy to talk to anyone on there, anyone at any time. You can come over here, I'll be afterwards. I'm willing to talk, answer questions. Stand in front of me and let's talk about it. And with that, I'm going to pass it over